YouTube, and a warm welcome to the Essentially Crypto channel. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm your host. Now, I want to say thank you so much. I got 3,000 subscribers, or just over 3,000 subscribers now. I'm so happy with that, so thank you so much. If you haven't subscribed yet, then please do make sure you subscribe and like the box and all that. Smash that like button so that way you get this video out to as many people as possible. But I just wanted to say a massive thank you to all of you out there that have made that possible. I am going to be doing a giveaway very soon. I'm going to try and decide what I'm giving away. I haven't really decided yet. So I'll be doing that giveaway very soon for my 3,000 subscriber thing, so to speak. So do look out for that one. Now I'm going to move over to the main thing, shall we, so we can see what's going on in the world of Ecomi and Omi and all that kind of good stuff. So here we go. The first thing is nothing to do with Ecomi or Omi, but it is Monsta Infinite. If you've been sort of following my journey a little bit, I've been investing a little bit into Monsta. Now, essentially, what happened was the first thing they came out with was the Monster Barter. So therefore, I joined the Monster Barter, and it was a bit like Vivi. Everything sold out within like 3 seconds, and I managed to get myself an Inception Monster. Woohoo! So that means I got my Inception Monster that will come out on the 12th of October, I believe. I can change that into something and see how many good traits I've got, that kind of thing. Now, basically, for those who don't know, Monsta Infinity is, or Monsta Infinite, beg your pardon, is basically exactly what I just said there. It's a fork of Axie Infinity. So they've basically taken the game Axie Infinity, they've created a Monster Infinity. Yes, very original, I know. But they have done some cool changes to it as well. First, it's on the Binance Smart Chain, so there's none of those massive fees anymore, which is absolutely awesome, because that's one of the things that really annoys me about Axie Infinity, to be honest. And there's a lot of gas fees getting in and out of your ETH and WETH and all that kind of stuff. So, therefore, you know, it's good that there's none of those fees. They've addressed some of the security issues as well. And what else are they doing? Oh, and they've put like a gaming element, sorry, a puzzle element into the gaming. So it's not just about which Axie you've got or which monster you've got in this case and how good it is. There's a gaming element to it as well, where you have to play like a little puzzle game, and if you complete that, then you can take your turns and that kind of thing. So there's some cool things that they've added to it, and I think this is going to be big. Now, I did the whitelisting for it the other day, and it was kind of pointless doing the whitelisting, I'll be honest with you. I was in whitelisting 2.0, so basically what they did was they did an oversubscription model. So therefore, whatever you put in, you would get a percentage of that in your MONI token, Monster token that is. And it didn't really go too well by all accounts, because they are oversubscribed by around about 2,500. So you had to put quite a lot in to get a little bit out, basically. So I think I put in like 5 BNB in total, because I knew it was going to be oversubscribed anyway. So I just shoved in a load of money that I didn't really have. And I just sold a few other things as well that I had laying around, shoved them in to try and get as much as possible. And I think I ended up getting something like 448 tokens or something really stupid like that. So hardly anything really, considering that 1 BNB is supposed to be worth 2,400. So therefore, I didn't really get that much of it at all. Now, I did get a refund on everything that came back. So obviously I got a refund on it anyway, and now I'm putting that into the public sale today, which is the reason for this little bit of the video, and that is that Monsta is going on Ascendex. And if you've been buying your Omi on Ascendex, you know that it's a really good exchange. I really like it. It's one of my favourite ones, actually. Yeah, they're doing their listing today at 6 o'clock. Well, I say 6 o'clock. It depends where you are, obviously. For me, oh no, it might be, yeah, 6 o'clock UK, I believe. So it's UTC time. So 1800 UTC. So wherever that is in the world for you, whatever time it is, that's when it's going to be. They're doing it there. They're also doing it on PancakeSwap, and then tomorrow they're doing it on Gate.io as well. So they've got 3 exchanges straight off the bat. PancakeSwap and Monsta are coming out exactly the same time, so depends on which one you prefer as to which one you go for. I'm personally going for Ascendex. I noticed also a little thing for you, but this may just be because of my clock, but my clock is set to the internet time, etc, etc. But it seems that they've got a countdown for PancakeSwap, and they've got a countdown for Ascendex, and Ascendex seems to be 25 seconds faster than PancakeSwap. So therefore, you might be able to get in before everyone gets in PancakeSwap, and even way anything happens on PancakeSwap, it won't matter anyway. But I think more people are going to use PancakeSwap, in my opinion, because obviously being decentralized and all that kind of thing. So therefore, I think Ascendex might be the better way to go, because of the fact there'll probably be less volume on there. So therefore, it might not moon very, very quickly. So you might be able to get in at least a nice rate. But that's just my sort of general opinion on it. Let me know what you think in the comments, and whether or not you're going to try and get yourself some Monsta Infinite today, and see how it goes. So here we go. Now, the reason for this video today is to talk about the thing I was speaking about the other day anyway, and that was the infinite burn loop. Now, I put this infinite burn loop out. I thought that you guys sort of might like the idea of it, and I was a little shocked, to be honest, the amount of views and stuff that it got, which was absolutely awesome. If you haven't seen it, then I will put it at the end of this video, so therefore you can click on that and you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And also some other YouTubers took the video and put it on their channel as well, and that got, you know, lots of views for them as well, so so nice for them. But anyway, I digress. So, but it's good because it gets it out to a lot more people, which is exactly what we wanted to happen. Now, there were a lot of comments in there saying that they didn't want this to happen because it's essentially manipulating the price and everything. It's not really manipulating the price. And I'll tell you for why now. And that is because we're basically using the tokenomics that exist to be able to do it. So we're not adding anything or taking anything away. We're just literally using the tokenomics in a clever way. So I don't see it as manipulation of the price or anything like that in like a bad way. But there were a few things that kind of don't work in the system. So I thought I'd go through the system with you again so you know what does work and what doesn't necessarily work, but how it can still work, because I wanted to explain it. So let me just make myself smaller very quickly. Here we go. Now, for those of you who didn't see the system the other day or haven't had a chance to watch the video, basically the idea is that you take Omi and you buy it on the exchange. Okay, now there are exchange fees for that, obviously, so that's something I didn't really take into account, but it's only one fee to take the Omi off the exchange. Sorry, one Omi even, not one fee. One Omi to take it off the exchange. Obviously, there's going to be fees inside of the exchange when you're changing over and that kind of thing, but I don't think they're that significant, I suppose, depending on how much Omi you've got. But if you're buying a lot of Omi anyway, I don't think they're going to be that significant that you're going to be that bothered about them personally. But that's just my personal view. But obviously, you have to take the exchange fees into account. Then say you buy $100 worth of Omi. So there's your Omi there. And then what you would do is you would then buy an NFT off the primary market for $100. Okay, and that essentially burns that Omi. Now, this is true. This is definitely going to happen. No matter what, this is going to happen. They are doing Omi to NFT, which means that any Omi you buy on the exchange will automatically burn when you buy that NFT. It's just the way it is, okay? So now they're not going to make any money from that, so to speak, because the way it works, they still have to pay license fees and all that kind of thing to the creators and NFT creation, blah, blah, blah. But what they're doing is they're doing a percentage of NFTs that can be done by that. So in other words, we don't know exact percentages or anything like that. Again, that's something maybe you can ask in the AMA, but I don't think they're going to release that information. This was spoke about a while back, and they basically said that they're going to do a percentage of NFTs only. So therefore, that's the way that's going to happen. Now, also bear in mind that not only that, and this was spoke about by Brock Blockchain, which I'll get back to in a bit, and he had an interview with Taps Trades. Now, if you've seen Brock, he's a huge member of the community. He's always around in different Telegram groups and that kind of thing, and also on all of the, you know, all the AMAs and stuff as well. You'll see him popping up and asking questions. He's mainly known for the when drivable T-Rex, so that's the chap I'm talking about. Well, he had a fantastic interview with Taps Trades the other day, and one of the things he was talking about is that when people can buy for their showrooms, they can buy like plants and tables and chairs, and they can buy like a block of them, say for $40 or something, and they buy that with Omi, and now that is nothing to do with a licensed product or anything like that, so that means that Omi will also be burnt as well, and there's also other ways the Omi can be burnt. And if you want to know about more of those things, it's a really cool interview. As I said, go and check it out. If you haven't checked it out, you're definitely at a miss, so I'll put it at the end of this video as well. I'll try and put 2 videos up, or no, I'll put a link on it as well. I'll put a link in the comments just here, so therefore you can go and check that out afterwards. So anyway, so I digress. So exchange $100, buy your thing, and then it burns the Omi. Okay, now that is the main part of it, really, because that is burning it from circulating supply. Now, this next bit, this is where it kind of all falls down a little bit in terms of the loop, okay, and I'll explain this now. Now, basically what I said is that you then take your thing to the market, and then you then sell it for 103, okay? You're doing this because you've got the market fee. So you sell it for 103, and you sell it for gems, and there's a reason for this. And then what will happen is there will then be a 2.5% burn there of your Omi, which is true. Again, that would be true if you took your thing to it. And then now, this is where it falls down a little bit. Okay, so basically you've got your burn of $100 already. Now that's from the circulating supply. Okay, you've then got your 2.5, but that comes from the reserve. Okay, so bear that in mind. So really, that doesn't make a difference to the price at all. So forget about that if you're just thinking about price. If you're thinking about overall burn of Omi, then yes, you can take that into account. But that burn there, and I'll reiterate this again, when it goes from the reserve wallet, any burn that happens in the reserve wallet does not affect the price at all. The only time it affects the price is when they do the buybacks. So basically, if you imagine that they've got a bin full of Omi or whatever, and then what they do is they open up the lid and they go, oh, that's looking a bit low. I better buy some more to top it up. And then what they do is they take the money that they've earned from all the NFTs, or a percentage of them, it's only 10% minus app fees, okay, incidentally, and they take that money and then they then go, oh, I'll buy some here and then I'll just fill up that bin. So that bin then gets full again and then the whole process starts again. So that's the reason for that burn. Nothing else. Does not affect the price, okay? Very important to remember. So the idea was that you then sold that NFT on the market and then you would get that 2.5% burn from the reserve, which you will. Okay, so that is all true. Now, the issue was, what if someone doesn't want to buy your NFT for 103? So therefore, while I was doing the video, I just suddenly come up with the idea of, wait a minute, why don't we you could sell it to your friend or something like that. That's what I was thinking. And then I thought, well, then the whole process starts again when your friend gets the NFT, but that doesn't actually happen. Okay. And the reason that doesn't happen is because if you sell it to your friend for 103, they've then bought it for 103. Now, they cannot then get the primary Omi burn again. And the reason they can't get the primary Omi burn, as in from the exchange, they don't need to buy Omi from the exchange or anything like that. And the reason they can't, all they can really do is sell it on the market again. And if they sell it on the market again, all that's going to happen essentially is that they would have to sell it for 106 to be able to get their money back. And then that collectible would then go to the next person and the next person and the next person. But until it found its forever home, or until you stopped the chain of that, then nothing much is really happening apart from the normal market transaction, because you're not burning anything from the circulating supply, because you can only buy that collectible once from the primary market, okay, or from the store. That's my fault. I completely forgot about that while I was getting excited about it. I was thinking, it's like an infinite burn loop and you could keep on doing it, and you could have one friend who buys it and then sends it to you, and then you could send it on to the next one. You can't really do that. You can if you just want to burn from the reserve, but then that's like burning from the reserve, so there's no point. It doesn't affect the price in any way, shape or form. But then at the same price, I guess you could do that, because it does, you're still doing the 2.5, but that's just using it off the market. So it's really not worth it in that sense, to do essentially the burn loop. Okay. So, bear that in mind now from now on. Okay. So basically, then the idea of the next bit was this, and that was that you then took it in gems and then you cashed out your gems using the MTL. Okay, so now this is another factor that people are asking and not understanding, and maybe I'm not understanding it correctly as well. And now the reason I came to the conclusion that when you take your gems, you put them into the MTL and then you burn the Omi. And now some people are saying that this can't be the case, and it's possible that it won't be the case. And I think basically what we need to do is we need to ask, or somebody needs to ask in the AMA, to ask what the exact question has to be phrased correctly, and that is essentially, or when gems are cashed out with the MTL, what happens to the Omi that was underpinning the gems? That's what we basically need to know. That is the question you need to know. And the reason I say it very specifically is because of this next piece here, okay? Because to me, it means that the gems, when you sell them when you put them into the MTL, if you think about it as, let's think about this. This is like a little box, okay? If you put your Omi inside the little box and then you shut it, and then the gem is going around the system, okay? When it gets sold, what happens is that gem then goes back on the shelf. Now, it doesn't need the Omi inside it, so the gem gets emptied out and the gem goes back on the shelf, okay? So, therefore, to me, when the MTL happens, it's exactly the same process. You've got the gems, which are underpinned by Omi. When you switch it to dollars, that gem is emptied out and then goes back on the shelf ready to be used again. That's my sort of understanding of how it works. Orion Crypto did a great video, and he kind of explained it as when you open the gem, you fill it up with Omi. Now, that was just to kind of explain the fact that Omi and gems are the same, but that's kind of how I think about it whenever I'm thinking about stuff. So, to me, that means that if you took that gem, you then emptied out the Omi, you put the gem back on the shelf, where does that Omi go? It has to go somewhere. And the reason I thought it burnt is because of this next video here, which I'm going to get you to listen to right now. Now, this is Dan himself talking in the AMA. Now, you have to bear in mind that this AMA question was kind of a bit different to what I said we need to be specific on. So, I could be wrong on this. I could be completely wrong, and it may be the case that the OMI just goes in the reserve wallet or goes back in the Vault wallet or doesn't go into any of those and just sits in the app, essentially. I don't know for 100%, but this is kind of how I took it from what I'm listening to.
Gems, there's always $1 to back that. So we want to obviously make sure users are able to cash out any gems that they've got in there, whether that's, they've loaded up their wallet or maybe they've made a small profit in the secondary markets. But any of those gems or any of the OMI associated with those gems will just continue along with the same tokenomics.
Okay, so there you go. So that to me, it doesn't really explain, does it? It basically says that it will carry on with the same tokenomics. So what does that mean? Well, I guess you could say that the tokenomics as it stands at the moment would be that when a gem with the OMI underpinning it, whenever it's not used, whenever it's not needed anymore, the token burns. Simple as that. So to me, that meant it burned. However, you could argue that it doesn't do that. And Brockma Blockchain pointed out very clearly that if that was the case, then it means that a WOW would be able to easily buy maybe $1 million worth of OMI and then cash out using the MTL, which would burn $1 million worth of OMI out of the reserve wallet, which would essentially, I guess, break the app. However, you could also argue that that doesn't really matter. Why would they want to do that? Because that doesn't affect the price at all. So I guess the only thing it would do is it might mean that they can't circulate stuff inside the app. Or, I don't really know how the blockchain side of it works with the OMI. But why could they not just stop the burn completely inside the reserves and everything like that? And then just essentially say, okay, any revenue generated, the 10% goes to buybacks, every month as a rolling thing. And then that's essentially doing exactly the same thing. So they don't have any burns. So maybe the burns are just there for morale purposes or to make you feel that, there's a lot being burnt or something. I don't really know. Maybe you can, let me know in the comments what you think about that. I kind of think that at the end of the day, the burns themselves that come from the reserve and that are going through the app, they don't really need to happen. As long as the buyback money is still being put aside and the buyback is still happening, is exactly the same process. So maybe it's just for morale, but even the buyback itself, it won't cause the token to moon or anything like that. That's not going to happen. What's going to cause the token to moon is going to be the other things that are coming in. It's going to be the amount of people that are coming in to, to buy the token essentially, and they're going to spend it in the app. Things like the thing that Blockchain was talking about in his thing with the the $40 with the plants and all that kind of stuff. You've got people who are going to be getting special privileges by burning some OMI, or people that are going to get special privileges by staking OMI as well. All these things are going to cause the token to go higher. So the actual buyback and the burns and everything are not really going to make a huge difference. So for that reason, although it's quite exciting to think about it, that you could buy $1 million and then burn it from the reserve, it doesn't affect the price at all. However, the OMI to NFT does. Now, this is Brockma Blockchain doing his interview with Taps Trades. Okay, now just taking a little slice of this. Not going to go through the whole thing. It's absolutely awesome. Make sure you go and watch this because there's so much in there that's going to get you excited about what are the possibilities for OMI. And Brock has been working with OMI sort of in the background as well, like from the start. He was, as he said, he was part of GoChain or something, so he knows his stuff essentially. So therefore, just go and watch the interview. He tells you all about his background with them, and he's been in it from the very start, so he kind of knows what's coming, and he's the guy to go to essentially. So have a listen to what he says. But when I said about the fact that he's not going to burn the supply, the reserve supply, that's not going to burn. And if it does, it doesn't really matter. It's the buybacks. But what does matter is the circulating supply. Okay, and the thing is that what's going to happen is that remember that first one that I did actually. Let me just go back to there. This is something that you can think about as well, and that is this first one alone. Okay, because a lot of people are saying, well, it's not an infinite burn loop because of the fact that, well, you know, you can't then send it to someone else who send it to someone else who send it to someone else. But you're kind of thinking small as well, because think about WoW games in general, okay? Now, think about this, and I'll show you a video with Brock in just a second, but think about this, that somebody goes to the exchange, they get their Omi, okay? They've got millions and millions of Omi, as an example. And then, on that day, Ikomi come out with a NFT of, I don't know, a comic. Let's just say it's a comic. Okay, a comic, and there's 20,000 of them, and 10,000 of them are able to be bought with Omi, and then the other 10,000 are with gems. Now we know it's going to sell out anyway, or maybe no. Let's choose one that's not sold out. Let's choose Batgirl. Perfect example, Batgirl. Okay, Batgirl is still in the market, I believe, or still available to buy, or something else that is available to buy. Okay, just imagine it's available to buy. I haven't looked actually for a while to see if Batgirl's still available or not, but she was for a long, long time. Okay, so if she isn't now, then I digress. But I believe she still is. So if she is now, if they suddenly said, okay, you can buy her with Omi, then it means that WoW could then just take their entire load of Omi and buy every single Batgirl that is there, okay? And then that means that they have got a lot of Batgirls, which means the price of Batgirls then goes up, and then they could sell their Batgirls back on the market straight away for, if they wanted to, higher than retail price. So therefore, they have just done that burn plus that bit there. The only bit is missing is the MTL at the end, which we don't know for definite, the 100, the 100 thing. And then they just do that and rinse and repeat, and they just keep on doing that. Okay? And each time, all they're going to be doing is making money from it. Because not only are they making money because of the fact that they've bought the entire stock with Omi, which they probably bought at a low, low price way back as well, they're then going to be selling them at a higher price on the market, which in turn is doing the 2.5% burn. And then if they then cash out in gems and they can do the MTL, which burns from the reserve as well, then that's even better. But if that doesn't happen, it doesn't really matter. But just get into your mind that what could happen is exactly this. Somebody could buy the entire floor of something with Omi. And then they could then start selling it in dribs and drabs back on the market for higher than what the original price was. And because nobody else has got any of them and they want them, they're willing to pay that price on the market. They don't even have to sell it that much in order to calculate for the fees, but they might even make the price go even higher and higher. So that's kind of what you got to think about. So not exactly an infinite Omi burn with 2 or 3 of your friends. We don't need that. All you have to have is a few people who decide that they're going to buy a lot of one collectible. Ray Fixie is a perfect example. And incidentally, if you haven't followed him, then make sure you follow him on Twitter, because he's always dropping on Twitter, oh, I'm about to, I think these ones are looking like they're good or something like that. He'll drop little hints, and then all of a sudden you'll see this floor massively raise. Now, that's not because he's buying them and then he's going to dump them. He's going to, he'll put them back in every so often to get some money out of it, I'm sure. But it's not like he buys them all and then dumps them, because that's a bit more difficult to do. There's no pump and dump as such in NFTs, because there can't be, because you still need somebody to be able to buy them at the other end, essentially. So it's not like you can just, use liquidity and get rid of it straight away. You can't do that. So therefore, I don't think you have to worry about market manipulation. But what you got to remember is this is essentially WoW games, and that is what's going to happen. And even though it's not an infinite Omi burn, as soon as these things come into place, which they're all coming into place very, very soon, you're going to see it happen. And this is a little excerpt from the Taps Trades interview and Brockman blockchain, and I'll leave the final words to him, well, give or take the final words, so you can have a little listen and see exactly what he thinks is going to happen, and when it all starts to come together.
Believe in them, and the hype, like if I'm sitting on 50,000 Ethereum, which believe it or not is not obscene for some people, because they got in so early. What happens when I just buy all of them that are on OpenSea? Right? Like there are people that just sweep the floors on these NFT projects, where it's like you wake up and you're like, oh, the floor is now half an Ethereum. It was 0.005. Like it just went up 100x, but now somebody owns them all. And so now the price just keeps climbing, right? So like,
and this is exactly what happens in general anyway on a lot of things. He's literally talking about situations that happen. And if you think about it in general, like the other day, I got a common comic, and it was $6.99 in the blind box, and there was only 10,000 of them. So now it's like £100. So people are willing to pay £100 to try and get that comic. You see, and this is exactly what he's talking about. A lot of us are complaining about, oh, I only got commons, I only got this, when am I going to get ultra rare? Well, soon, as he said, we're not going to be caring about that. We're going to be caring about, did I manage to get it? Because there's going to be so many people trying to get these things. And when these things move to OpenSea as well, just have a listen here what he says.
If you think that there's been whale games so far, they've been like struck by having to get in with fiat right now. When their money that is tied up in Ethereum or even like other, like say I have a bunch of Bitcoin, I can flip to Ethereum and then come in and swipe a bunch of these VV things. Like it's just going to get intense. And I think that wherever we think it's going, you have to kind of think again 5 steps ahead.
So there you go. Wherever you think it's going, you've got to think 5 steps ahead. I think that's pretty much a great way to wrap up the video. So basically, although it's not an exact infinite Omi burn, it's still a possibility to burn a lot of Omi. Let me know what you think in the comments below, all that kind of good stuff. I'm not going to do a live today. I haven't got a chance to do it, unfortunately, so I'm putting this video out instead. So good luck on the comic drop today. And, of course, on Saturday, we have got these serial killers as well, which I completely forgot to go through, so I will go through that tomorrow, maybe, after I find out the results of today's drop or something along those sort of lines. But anyway, thank you very much for joining me. As always, don't take this as financial or investment information in any way, shape, or form. Because I really don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about something I love doing. Simple as that, really. I'm not a financial advisor, so don't put any more money in than you're willing to lose, because crypto can go up and you can make loads and loads, or it can go down and you can lose your shirt. But that is essentially crypto. Bye-bye for now. See you on the next video.